Hello everyone and welcome to this latest video discussion as part of the RICS Tech Partner Programme. My name is Andrew Knight and I've been with RICS for over 13 years now. My role here is to look at the overall effect of AI, data and tech right across the built and natural environment, and with over 110,000 members working worldwide right across that full property life cycle, from land, planning, development, construction, brokerage, valuation, finance, building, surveying, asset management. It really is a very, very wide canvas upon which AI, data and tech is having a profound effect. And indeed, our members work across all the major asset types, whether that's land itself, residential, commercial, alternative assets and infrastructure. So once again, a very wide-ranging arena. And I'm really pleased to have Ben and James join me today from Gleeds. So welcome to the call. And perhaps if I could start with you, Ben, with a brief introduction and then move across to James.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, I'm Ben Huskisson. I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Gleeds, and I've been with Gleeds for 2.5 decades. Started off life as a quantity surveyor. I've worked all over the globe, and I've just finished a stint of 10 years in APAC. But my current role now is Chief Digital Officer, and we're really looking to advance construction consultancy.
Excellent. And James?
Thanks, Andrew. And yeah, similar kind of story to Ben's, really. I'm the Digital Operations Director working in the same team, and I've also been at Gleeds for the best part of 2.5 decades. So long stint. I've trained mainly as a QS. I worked on lots of prestigious projects, and then around sort of 3 years ago, joined the digital team. And it's all about trying to, as Ben says, elevate our consultancy, elevate the industry, and help us all do things better.
Thanks, James. Well, I'll start with you, Ben, first, and I guess I'll preface the question with the fact that it's great to have a conversation with people like yourselves from such a well-established, RICS member firm from the perspective rather of data and tech. So, for Gleeds Digital, I mean, how are you aligning your vision and your values with the innovative services that you're providing in the construction sector?
We're making sure that we align everything we do with the company vision, and that's our go-to position for everything. And the company vision is to be a company that attracts the best people, projects, and clients in the industry. And everything that we're doing in the digital team is designed to empower our people and help us engage our clients and drive satisfaction. So, everything we're doing is designed to attract the best people and clients. So, that's our go-to point with everything that we do.
And given you're a global operation with, I think you're in over 20 countries, how, from the digital perspective, are you kind of matching that local expertise with obviously what has to be a relatively consistent global strategy, I presume?
I'll not turn this into a pitch, but we're 20 countries and growing. And one of the key things about the digital strategy is that we can actually do that in an efficient manner. So we've got 4 strands to digital transformation: connecting the technology, so we are a global company and we can start to work really efficiently. Better using data, so collecting the data and better using it for internal efficiencies, but also how we can use it for our clients and to use it for data-driven decision making in some of the solutions that we might talk about later. Finding digital ways of working that we can standardize across the countries is also really, really important. And once we do those 3 things, which we've been doing for the last 3-4 years, we're also looking to ways that we can add value proposition to our services for our clients, and also different ways to monetize some of the solutions that we've got. But like I said, everything that we do is linked to the company vision, but everything that we do is designed to elevate our performance and efficiency and ultimately profitability.
Indeed, indeed. And moving to you, James, I mean, in my introduction, I always try and give our listeners and viewers this sense of the scope of the profession. And obviously, I talk about the different parts of the life cycle, and I talk about the different asset types, but there's also that dimension around the different sectors, whether that's healthcare, energy, education, etc. I mean, how are your digital services impacting those different sectors?
Yeah, it's a great question, and kind of going on from what Ben was talking about, everything we do is people first, and you don't start with the tech, as the saying goes. You start with a problem, and then you work out if there's something that you can produce that will help people and add value. And the benefit, I guess, of Ben and I both coming from a very kind of practitioner background is we do understand the pain points, and the pain points for different sectors are different, right? So, for instance, for healthcare, the pain points may be different from education. So whilst our solutions, a lot of them we have are overarching, they go across all the different kind of sectors, they may be used in slightly different ways. And then likewise, actually, the sectors themselves may have different tech requirements. So for instance, in education, they may be very focused on smart campuses. In energy, they may be looking at kind of renewable technology and things like that. And it's how the two can merge. So how they can use our suite of solutions to elevate the performance of the projects, and at the same time enable them to become more tech compliant in the way that they deliver their services in whatever sector it is. So it's a real marriage of understanding, and it goes back to that point, whatever sector they're in, they will be trying to help people, and then what we're trying to do is help them help people. So it's all around finding the pain point and making sure the solutions that we've got do fit. And that's why our suite of solutions are so integrated, to make sure that they can actually be kind of fitted together as kind of a jigsaw, if you like, for the particular sector or even industry that they're being used in. There may be some industries that use just one or two of our solutions. There may be other industries where they're all applicable. So it's very versatile, very agile.
So, I mean, staying with you, James, I mean, I'm interested to probe a bit more deeply about if we think about this phrase digital transformation, which clearly, many organizations like yourselves are now, developing and evolving and bringing forward. I mean, how is that changing, and what role does that digital transformation play when you approach a construction project?
Yeah, and that question, it keeps getting, the answer to that question keeps getting changed, simply because the technology is moving so fast. And there's a cultural piece to this as well, because I think people get quite scared around digital transformation, because does it mean that it's taking away jobs? Does it mean that it's changing things for the worse, or their security risks? So I've taken to stop using the word automation, because a lot of digital transformations around automation, because there are some negative connotations around automation, because automation conjures up images of robots taking jobs, and so instead of that, we use the word augmentation. And that's saying, no, we still need people involved in this process, and we still need skilled professionals, particularly surveyors. They are going to be more important than ever. And what they've got to think of the digital transformation as is an augmentation, superpowers, enable people to do their jobs better, enable greater efficiency, making sure that we're delivering projects to a better ratio in terms of overruns, over budget, delivered to benefit, making sure we're hitting those three markers more often. So I think it's extremely exciting. And I think when you change that very small word from automation to augmenting, it makes people feel they've got a bit more control in it. So that's a very important thing. But we are, digital transformation is about being forward thinking. And in some senses, I always say, I could understand the argument against digital transformation if we were standing in a perfect industry where we always deliver projects absolutely perfect to budget to time. I could understand the argument saying, why do we need this digital transformation stuff? But we're not. We're definitely not in that place. There's definitely scope for improvement, and digital transformation is the biggest opportunity for us to improve. So I want people to, I feel part of my job is delivering that message to people. This is nothing to be scared of. This is something that everyone in the industry should embrace, because it's going to improve your work-life balance, it's going to improve the end result for clients, and it's going to improve the end product effectively.
And in
And
terms of, sorry,
if I
carry on.
may, yeah, if I may, Andrew, I'd just like to really labour that, because we did go through the transformation and augmentation terminology quite in depth within Gleeds, because we're not looking to replace people with technology. What we're looking to do is elevate our services for the better. And that's a real, we're using technology to elevate what we do. And that's a really important point that I think, because digital transformation means a lot of things to a lot of people, and the level of understanding varies massively, and it means different things to whether you're a C-suite or someone who's actually on site working. It means different things to different people, but it's all about leveraging technology to elevate performance, and I think that's how we see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think at the risk of jumping ahead some other topics we might cover when we look at AI, I think that debate does need to be framed very importantly in that augmentation context, that this is about technology helping human beings do even better in terms of delivery. You mentioned the word leverage there, I think, Ben, and one thing I was keen to understand is, in many ways, building information modeling, BIM, has been with us for a long time, but there's an argument that we still haven't really kind of made the best of it in terms of delivering the benefits. And I'm intrigued to understand how you're using not just 3D, but moving into 4D, 5D, that time and cost element to once again improve that whole delivery process.
I mean, just like we've just said about digital transformation has a large spectrum of understanding, I think the same can be said about BIM and digital twins. And it means different things to different people. And if, from a Gleeds perspective, we're moving more to using the term information management as opposed to BIM. But ultimately, how can we leverage models and BIM and information management? The scope is enormous. And I'm a massive advocate of it. But the level of people's ability to, the skill set is not necessarily there. So there's definitely a piece in terms of training people into BIM, which is one thing that we do. And internally, what we're trying to do is like if you've asked about 3D, 4D, 5D, we convert 2D information that we get still into 3D, so we can create more accurate cost plans. We no longer have to assume what's in. We can actually build a model that mirrors our cost plan and then visualize that for design teams. That's a really important step. The 4D, again, linking the programs to this type of information, we can start to have more in-depth conversation with contractors and clients about what is included, what isn't included. And the same for 5D. When you start to do the cash flow and you show the build sequence, all it really does is just, without wanting to constantly repeat myself, it elevates our performance and efficiency, and ultimately helps clients understand what the building's going to do going forward. So it's just all about that.
And Ben, you mentioned, dare I say, the dreaded phrase digital twin, which is so often used and perhaps still, I think, misunderstood or used in so many different contexts. What's your view on what do you mean by a digital twin? And critically, how are they kind of delivering real value over the full life cycle? Because as ever, there's that real prize here about using technology to not just construct, but operate buildings over that full life cycle.
Yeah, we could spend an hour just talking about this, but I'll try to do it. If in its truest sense, if we have a digital twin which is linked to operations, then you can start to really leverage AI, and then it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out the benefits of that. But are we there yet? No. And these BIM models created and then not used by FM teams, absolutely. So I think we're on that journey, and the more we constantly promote the benefits of twins, then it will just get better and better. But we accept we're not there. So what we've created is a digital solution where we can create digital replicas of assets that are built already, and they're not fully functioning digital twins linked to everything. They're not, but what they are is almost like a light touch digital twin that allows estates teams to start to digitally manage their estates. So it's a step towards where I think we can get to, but it's a step towards that. And again, the estates teams can really start to use our solution to help them do their job better.
And in fact, I mean, sorry, carry on, James. Yeah.
Well, just to jump in there, because I think Ben raised a really important point, and it kind of this touches on a lot of things. Sometimes there's a culture of all or nothing, and what I mean by that is, well, if the technology isn't 100%, I'm not going to use it at all, which is very, very, actually we're trying to create jump-in points that things don't have to be 100%. You can actually lead. Digital twins are a perfect example. Yes, there's loads more work we can do on it to get it to be whatever 100% looks like. But just because you're not 100% yet doesn't mean you can't extract huge value out of even where it is at the moment. And I think changing that mindset for people to, I know we're going to come on to large language models, similar thing with that as well, in that don't make it an either or conversation. Make it a conversation around, yes, this technology, we're on a journey. Let's start now because it's only going to get more powerful.
Do you know, that was exactly the point I was going to interject myself, that this sense that people are perhaps scared of the idea of a digital twin because they think they have to go straight to the all singing, all dancing, full digital twin, every IoT sensor in the world connected. And as you say, you can start quite small and just say, well, let's just capture the visual side of that asset and then begin to layer data sets on. So I think that was the point I was almost trying to make, that you shouldn't be scared of just starting simply and just realizing it's a journey to build these things. And I guess, I suppose a linked question to you really, I think really, Ben, is what's the role here been of drones and this reality capture, all the payloads that you can now use, that really is helping both generate digital twins, but also actually part of the whole surveying and construction phase now, this ability to be capturing this data really, really quickly and to huge depth and in huge volume.
It's exactly that. So we talked about the digital replicas of assets that are built that we're helping clients with, but at the same time now we're using reality capture to create a digital replica of the asset as it's being built, and the benefits of that are quite significant. One, we're enhancing protection to our clients because we've got as an accurate record of progress and issues on site as you could wish for. And if you think about the rat concrete problems that we've just had recently, when we use our reality capture solution on sites, that problem is massively mitigated because we can know exactly what's being put where, when, so there's huge benefits. And we're not only are we using reality capture with people on the sites, there are certain times when we need to use drones to capture progress at high level or in more complicated site scenarios. So we've got the capability now where we use this technology, the drones, etc., and link it to our reality capture of progress on site.
Indeed. Now, I also sometimes probably get accused by my colleagues of being slightly kind of not negative, but always highlighting some of perhaps the downsides, or rather the things we have to think about and manage. And I guess a question for you, James, is clearly there's huge opportunities in digitizing this whole sector that we work in, but clearly there are some downsides or some risks that need to be managed around cyber protection. The more we digitize the sector, the more that data is available and potentially threatened. And obviously, the more we rely on technology, we need resilience, because the most resilient thing I can think of is a pen and paper. So we're going beyond this in many ways. And what's your view in terms of how Gleeds are looking at that balancing act of taking advantage of technology, but thinking about, okay, what does this now leave us open to in terms of threats and resilience, and how do we manage that and make sure we can digitize our sector, but do it in that responsible and controlled and managed way?
Yeah, I think the first thing, Andrew, is recognizing that there are risks, and I think there's risks in everything. And pen and paper, there's risks with that because there's only one copy. If there's a fire, you lose all your records. So there's always been risks. So it's not necessarily a digital issue. It's just an innovation issue. As you innovate in anything, there's going to be new risks that come on board. So recognizing that they're there, not putting your head in the sand and dealing with them head on, and not letting them, I think really, really importantly, not letting the risks be a barrier to innovation. I think there's too many people who say, oh, this is too risky, we're just not going to do it, because that's the easy route out, but it's not sustainable, because you all fall behind, you know, because if you're not doing it, someone else is doing it. So you've got to take the view that, yes, I know what the risks are, and deal with them. And, you know, just a few examples, you mentioned cybersecurity measures. You know, you can put these cybersecurity measures in place. There's lots of good practices that you can follow. Same with data privacy. You know, we've got the GDPR regulations. It's not like there's not guidance out there telling you how to do this stuff. Technology resilience in terms of making sure working with the IT departments, making sure the infrastructure is okay. And then just like really simple things, common sense things like vendor risk management, making sure you're understanding who you're going into contract with when you're bringing a vendor on board. And then awareness, training and awareness for your, you know, for a big organization like Gleeds, we run something called the Upskill program, which is all around data literacy. But a big part of data literacy is understanding the risks and training them to know what to spot, you know, in terms of data scamming and other things like that. And then just also recognizing that there's this kind of continuous monitoring improvement. The job is never ever done. It's not. I don't think you can ever get to the point saying, "Oh, we've done security." It's always there. And I think what's maybe a little bit frightening is the way that hackers are trying to get in systems getting more and more sophisticated, and that it's going to become more and more challenging as you get on. But you've got to jump on the bus at some point, and you've got to say, right, this is our plan. And as I said, I think the guidance is all out there. It's not like you're going into it blind. There's loads of great documents. I know the RICS publishes stuff as well around how to protect yourself. And you can never be 100%, but if you can get as close to 99.9% as possible, then you're doing your job.
Indeed, indeed. Now, it wouldn't be a sort of 2024 conversation if I didn't raise the whole topic of AI and all its flavors, whether that's machine learning or obviously the wave of generative tools and large language models that we've seen. But perhaps starting with you, James, I mean, how are you, you know, kind of preparing to use or already using perhaps some of the well-established things like machine learning, but what's your view on this whole kind of AI and obviously the related big data issues, and how are you integrating that, I guess, in a responsible way, given once again some of the pitfalls of some of this AI technology that's out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about AI generally and what it's going to do, not just for industry, but for you know, industries generally. I think there's a little bit of it's being used as a bit of a buzzword, as if AI didn't exist before sort of November 22 or whenever ChatGPT was announced. The reality is AI has been with us a long, long time. If you're using Google Maps on your phone or watching Netflix and using one of those recommendations, even you could say using a thermostat at home, you're using some form of artificial intelligence. So it's, in some sense, it's nothing new, but there's obviously a huge buzz around it. And obviously there's some new technologies like these large language models and some of the machine learning algorithms, which are extremely powerful, are making it seem as some of this stuff is magic now. So it's like, wow, okay. And it can do some stuff which is incredible. You know, who would have thought that we'd be at the point even just 2 years ago where we're talking to these agents and these bots in a way that is really changing our workflows. So I think I'm encouraging everyone to get stuck in, as it were, and learn about this stuff, because the entry point in terms of AI is getting easier and easier now. It's you know, $20 a month for ChatGPT license. There's a lot of kind of off-the-shelf machine learning algorithms you can get from Azure or from Google, so it's really easy to get into it. But I think from our industry's point of view, we had an event yesterday actually for the Project Data Analytics Task Force, which I'm a chair of, where we had Karina Sin from the IPA come to talk about the government paper. The government released a paper called AI and Data Analytics in Government Project Delivery, which is a huge endorsement for this. So it's not as if our key clients aren't telling us to get on this bandwagon and to use it. But you're right, Andrew, it has to be used responsibly. We're putting a lot of work into trying to roll stuff out, but doing it in a responsible manner. So that's all around testing, alpha, beta testing, feedbacks, making sure people realise the risks involved. We actually produced a safe AI policy within our organisation so that people understand what it means to use AI. And what was really interesting about that is it started life off when we tried to do the first iteration of it. It was a huge document trying to kind of capture every possible thing that had happened with AI up until that particular point in time. But then you realise you're fighting a losing battle, because I think it's something like 100 new AI tools coming onto the market every day. So we actually shrunk it down. And when you shrink it down, and talking to surveyors on this, you know, none of it negates your responsibility as a chartered professional. It's just common sense. Just, you know, don't put confidential information in the large language model. Don't rely on these models to be able to tell you. Just still use your professional judgment. And when you bring it down to that level, it's kind of okay. Yeah, this is just another tool that we can use.
I agree.
Andrew, I think that just, you know, that's the key for us at Gleeds. It's there, but it goes back to what we said. We're leveraging new technology to do our job better. So, you know, you can use a large language model, of course you can, and that's fantastic. But ultimately, it will come down to us as a professional to validate what we're using it for, and then we pass that information on to a client. And that, you know, that's where we got to, and I think that's where we'll always stay.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly important point. I mean, I like to use the phrase that sort of everything's changed, but nothing's changed. That actually we still have to think, well, okay, where did that data come from? Can we trust that? Is it appropriate data to use? And who's going to sign off that? And have we done the due diligence on this, whether it was a piece of information that was passed to us verbally or whether it came out of a piece of AI? It doesn't really change that professional responsibility to give that reasoned advice. So I think it's really, I think as you say, James, you can almost boil it down to, it's just these fundamental principles of what does it mean to be a professional with whatever tool you might be using. Well, I guess I'd like to finish with a question to both of you, perhaps starting with James first. And I always like to put people on the spot and get their crystal ball out. But I mean, starting with you, James, what do you think, particularly in the construction sector, what do you think will be, you know, the future digital innovations that we'll see in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the sort of medium term?
I think we're going to see incredible rate of change over the next sort of 3 to 5 years. I think things are speeding up. And then, you know, the AI will continue to flourish. We know that there's new models coming out all the time from the big players, the Metas, the Microsoft, which owns OpenAI, the Googles, and we know they're even talking about in the next model, I think GPT-5, having some kind of reasoning ability. So getting more and more human-like, which I'm equally excited and scared about in equal measure. But that's not the only technology. I think, you know, there's the next thing that's gone down a bit, whilst AI has taken the limelight, is all around the VR and the mixed reality. I think Apple entering the market now with their Vision Pro headset. I know it's not in the UK yet. I think that's going to start changing the game, because they usually, when they enter a market, they make it very commercial, and people can start getting some real use cases. So I think we're going to see a resurgence of VR and mixed reality. And I think blockchain as well, I'm really excited about, again, because of it's so intrinsically linked with cryptocurrency. It's got a bit of a bad rap over the last
true.
Coming back, but the use cases for blockchain within our industry, I think, is huge and hasn't been explored yet, particularly in terms of contracts and ensuring that validity of contracts. And I think this is all powered by, and this, I said at the beginning, this kind of this rate of change is going to speed up, because don't forget, we've got things like quantum computing on the horizon. You know, that's just going to make the rate of change accelerate even faster. And all these things, all these technologies will work together. You know, you can't look at any of them in isolation. Obviously, the quantum computing will then give rise to even more powerful large language algorithms, and then more better kind of VR mixed reality experiences. So I think it's just the rate of change. I think we've all got to brace ourselves.
Breathtaking. Final word from you then, Ben. What do you foresee?
No shock, but I'm completely aligned with James, because most of our R&D projects pick up these points. But, you know, blockchain, without a doubt, I think we were on the upward trend on the disillusionment cycle, but now, you know, that's going to come back without a doubt. I think metaverse is going to play quite a big role in what we do in terms of digital estates going forward. I'm a huge believer in platform strategies. I think there's huge space in construction for a platform to come in and start to dominate. AI machine learning obviously is just going to keep accelerating, and the fact that cloud computing and quantum computing is now being encouraged through the R&D program, and the government is encouraging us all to invest in that space. I think that's going to drive it as well.
Great. Well, I suppose from my perspective, that the main thing that not so much concerns me, but I'm really sort of passionate about, is that the profession embraces all this, and that we use it as a tool, a set of tools, as you say, to augment what the professionals do, because there's a huge opportunity here to improve the way we deliver projects and manage assets, and let's look at it as an opportunity, not a threat in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I might use that quote in the Gleeds website, Andrew, if we may.
With pleasure, with pleasure. Well, James, Ben, thanks ever so much for your time. It's been a privilege to talk to you both, and very insightful. But for today, thanks ever so much for your time.
Thank you.